Welcome to The Cloaked. We are a collective of inquiring minds seeking answers to mysteries both past and present. Join us on our journey to discover that which remains hidden. And now, on with the show.
And now to Hoffman with his main event here. What you got here for us, Hoffman?
Well, with the recent, can I say disaster in Houston?
I mean, I wouldn't.
On the Gulf Coast. It's a better way to relate it. But
this occurrence happened in Houston, which is very unfortunate with the current events that happen in Houston. If you can donate to whatever you can, definitely donate. Our thoughts and prayers go to the people in Houston. It's a bad disaster, and hopefully people do get the help they need.
Yeah.
But we digress.
To the killing fields.
To killing fields.
Yes.
So what are these killing fields? What are they all about besides we can assume killings?
Well, it's a 25-acre patch right off I-45 next to the Cutler oil field. Mm-hmm. And since the 1970s, they have found 30 bodies in that area.
Yeah?
Yeah. Now, they about 13 years ago, someone made a movie called the Killing Fields, not the Cambodian one. And the director says, you can see the refineries in the south end of Texas City, and you can see I-45, but if you yell, no one would necessarily hear you. And if you ran, you wouldn't necessarily be able to go anywhere. So it sounds like a place where you can do some things.
You can literally get away with murder there.
Yeah.
It's a good spot.
I mean, obviously from what he's saying, this director's saying, sounds like a good spot to be in. I mean, unfortunately,
it's a
not to be in, but if you were a serial
it's pretty
killer.
morbid.
Well, yeah, of course. But fuck, man. I mean, that goes to tell you that there's a lot of places where there's no surveillance. There's nobody going.
Yeah.
And shit's happening. Nobody's seen it.
Well, a lot of these murders are still unsolved.
Yeah.
Most of the victims are between the age of 10, and the oldest one has been 57. They haven't recovered her body. And this started on July 1st of 1971.
So are these bodies being discovered as like the couple of days? Like how between their disappearance and the finding of the body, or is it?
It's kind of all over the place.
Is it
really?
It's like a couple days to months.
The soonest has been like the day after, and there's some that they're finding remains 2-3 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the weird thing is that a lot of these people are being reported. They're being reported as missing, and found there, and they're coming from neighboring cities like Galveston, Webster.
Like they traveled on the road.
Yeah,
From somewhere.
Santa Fe, League City.
yeah.
La Marquis. What's that? Friendwoods?
Friendswood?
Yeah. I'll go Texas City.
I never heard of that place.
Yeah.
So it must be really small.
Right. So. Okay. So what are do they have any? Besides they're all female, what are the other common?
I mean, most look pretty young, right?
Yeah, I mean, mutilations, sexual assault. That's actually how one of the suspects was caught. But it doesn't explain all of them.
What do you mean?
So, William Lee Reese, a 58-year-old, was one of the main suspects. He was charged with the murder of Tiffany Johnston, 19 at the time. The problem is He was 58 when they caught him. This was about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make him 62 right now.
Huh.
Right? Go back to 1971. He would roughly be about 10, 12 years old.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely he started this.
Killing.
So highly unlikely, right?
Yes. But he confessed to killing 11 children.
Not on this list.
Not on this list. But all the way from Oklahoma, Dallas, down to Houston.
And what was his line of occupation?
I don't know. But
Was he a trucker?
Was he a trucker?
that's actually a good theory.
Did
Right?
he
Because why is he
goods?
coming from Oklahoma to Texas? doing
Right,
this?
exactly.
I mean, I'm originally from Oklahoma.
That's
Well, I started in Oklahoma, then I moved to Texas.
There's something out there.
That's a good job occupation to have. You're a serial killer,
Yeah.
right?
The-
Reminds me of the not the Texas road, but the Canadian road that we talked about earlier. I mean, it all fits and it makes sense. They caught this, this other killer that was going through that same road and up in Canada, and there was been other murders up this highway, and they caught him, but the murders continued, and he confessed that he did some of these murders, but not all those murders were his. Now, there's a theory on this other case that, there's also maybe a group of men, with the same knowledge. They could be acolytes, they could be just copycats, or, they could be a group of people who are, going about and committing the same murders. Hoffman, you found something else.
The FBI actually says that truckers make the ideal serial killers.
Well, there you have it.
Well, if the FBI says it, then
It must be true.
see, the thing is, serial killers have to make a living too.
Well, yeah, of course.
You have to find an occupation that allows you to do your serial killing. So it's like the people that go into medical fields and you find out later that they've been killing patients all along. But it's like the perfect place because
it makes sense.
They kind of, some patients might die, so it's not super suspicious when they do.
But if I were going to be a serial killer and I wanted to kill a lot of people, I would go into hospice care, because those people are already going to die.
True, but it might not give them the rush
been
they're looking for.
There's have been people that that were in those related fields that were killers, like what was that one lady? The Angel of Death or something.
There was a nurse recently that got caught for killing a bunch of babies back in the 80s.
Wasn't that in San Antonio?
I think so. Yeah, that was a Texas case.
Was that one of the Air Force bases or something?
Yeah, but they still probably don't even know all the kids that she may have killed. But they said that they noticed that deaths would increase at the time of her shift.
Every
so I'm
time
really?
She works.
Somebody croaks every time on your watch. Really? They didn't...
I mean, to piece that... I mean, how many people have to die before you can make a connection or a pattern to it?
Maybe somebody should shadow her on her shift.
I mean, yeah, maybe there should be some kind of security of checks and balance with the people who work in the medical field.
That was the 80s.
I know, shit, man.
But that's almost 30 years ago.
Well, when you think about it, I mean, how many hospitals have gone up, as...
Well, isn't
then?
It's we need little nanny cams inside hospital rooms. You know what I mean?
Right,
just to make sure that the patients are being euthanized or something.
If you were a new parent, I mean, I'm sure you can do that. You know what I mean?
Why is there a teddy bear there? Don't worry about it.
Can I set up a camera to watch my newborn? Just in case. I don't trust this fucking nurse. What is she doing right there? What is she doing? What is that vial? What is that? What is that? I think as a parent, you should definitely question what some of these people are doing. And not just that. I mean, sometimes even you yourself could be a victim. You're lying in the hospital. What if your surgeon? You're going under the knife or major surgery, or maybe it's minor surgery, and decides to, oh my god, he fucking accidentally died. He had a heart attack.
Check this out. Dying after childbirth, right?
Son of a bitch.
Women in Texas are
really
at the highest risk especially if you're black.
Wow.
Yep.
Is there a connection here?
There might be.
I feel like we deviated a little bit.
I mean,
a little bit.
it's unfortunate. I mean, it's in Texas.
Say no more.
Fucking Texas. So, what else about this guy? I mean, so we have here that he obviously didn't commit some of these murders because they go a little further, and he would have been 10. So, where do we go from here? Like, what's our next?
The next guy was Edward Harold Bell, and he was 72 years old in 2011 when he was arrested. And he claimed to have killed 11 little girls in Galveston County.
Wow.
And later confessed to more killings. You see.
Jeez, 11? I mean, then you got this other dude. How much was the other guy? How many kids was the other guy?
About the same.
About the same, right?
So this is one of your theories that you had to come up with.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it is.
The way you're like,
My mustache bothers me sometimes.
he was curling it.
Yeah.
Like a little bit.
Like an evil villain.
He does that.
Yes, continue.
The theory goes that this is either a cult or that all these killings are connected through a main group of people.
A brotherhood of
Truckers.
truckers murdering. That's not to say that every trucker out there is a murderer. I mean, you know, you just want to clarify that.
Well,
Last thing I want is a truck to attack me.
All we're saying is your job is very ideal for this.
you're alone a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You have a lot of time on your hands.
A lot of time on your hands.
I mean, you have like certain things that you have to meet, but you don't necessarily have to be there on time.
You meet some interesting people along the way. You learn some traits. I mean, I get it. So I mean, but there's a good chance that might be something that the FBI should look into. I think that there should be some bit of investigation. Is there anything we can find on the black web that we can? Is there any communication? Here's the
Like,
thing.
yeah, I'm not going there.
I'm gonna go outside of the realm and travel into the woods, because here's my other thing. What if you belong to this cult or group or whatever, and online, because apparently you can meet anybody online, you become part of a group. And within this group, at this point, this is a movie. The way I'm heading, this is a movie. So you meet these people online. You all talk about the perfect ideal job. It turns out it's this trucking business. You go into that business, and you have a bunch of guys going around across the U.S. killing people. And the way they communicate is through, a website or, any other app that's out there that can apparently delete your texts or
They
delete
also
your
have
messages.
radios, but
They also have radios, but unfortunately, other people can monitor radios.
yeah, but they have
Because-
codes, and maybe like they have their own codes.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
it's
little
also
handles and calls.
I mean, shit, man. Someone needs to look into this. I think there should be a team of like maybe more than 24 FBI agents traveling around the U.S. trying to pick up some of this trucker talk and try to decipher. It sounds like a lot of work, but I feel like you're saving lives.
So just some FBI agents infiltrating the trucking industry.
I mean, at this
like
point,
learning
this
codes.
is costing us millions of dollars.
What if these FBI agents actually become the killers?
Oh snap! Didn't see that one coming.
Oh my god. And that is part 2 of the movie.
Well,
it reminds me of The Following.
Oh, that show.
Yeah, right?
That got out of hand.
Yeah.
it
It's real out of hand.
It was so out of hand.
well, no, the weird thing with Edward Harold Bell
Right.
is that he claims to have been brainwashed and programmed into killing these little girls.
By
He doesn't say.
another group.
Well, he is constantly heard saying 11 went to heaven.
Wow.
11 went to heaven, 11 went to heaven. Right?
Interesting.
Now,
What does that rhyme to? That's so weird.
Well, it was originally, he claimed that he had killed 7.
That
and
also
then,
rhymes.
And that number went up to 11. But the 2 of the confirmed kills were in Galveston, where he tied them up and shot them half naked and left them in the chilly waters.
Say that again?
Is that necessary?
Yeah, I'm not repeating that. He raped these little girls too.
Oh, wow.
So,
I mean, could it be that they're just a little more desensitized to stuff like this too, just because, like, going back to the whole, truck drivers make ideal serial killers, they also tend to frequent prostitution a little bit more, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because they're on the road and, like, prostitutes kind of hang out at truck stops or convenience stores where they might stop. So maybe they're just kind of, like, on a different interaction with women level. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe, because some of these girls may have been just walking or jogging or whatever, and maybe they tried to solicit them and it didn't go well.
But, I mean, these were children.
Yeah, I know, but people are fucked
I mean,
up.
some of the girls were last seen at ice cream shops.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of...
That's so stereotypical, too. Like,
I don't know, man. That really bothers me.
I mean, there are girls that look more adult, I guess, at a very young age.
That doesn't make any sense.
But, I mean, they were 15, so the 2 that he
The
killed.
ones with the ice cream.
Yeah. Oh,
It's terrible. Well, then.
I'm really bummed out right now.
Like, where do we go from here?
I'm actually trying to see if there's anything related to that same 11 go to heaven. But I'm not finding anything.
Or 7 go to heaven,
Or
because that
7.
also has like a weird ring to it.
I mean, I was trying to see if maybe there's an occult related. I mean, hey, you just never know with these.
Well, there was that whole satanic scare during the 90s. So he could have been playing off of that.
Yeah, I mean, these assholes could be making shit up, dude. That's my thing. Okay, so he claimed he killed 11. Did they recover the bodies?
They recovered 2 of them, and those were
Just 2.
The ones that were in the
He could have been
killing
lying.
field. Well, the thing that linked them to that was...
Did he give any names, any dates,
He
time
gave
frames?
details of the killings that hadn't been...
Anyone can make that up, but like,
So
is there
so
facts?
Here is the
this?
fucked up thing.
Okay.
He sent letters to Harrison and Galveston County to prosecutors in '98, right? So they were trying to figure out who this was.
Those killings, the 2 killings you're
Yes.
talking about, right? Okay.
And the actual prosecutors kept them secret for 13 years until they brought him to justice, right? So
Right.
I'm assuming they linked up his handwriting.
Right.
He could describe where the bodies were,
Right.
what he did to the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, man.
But what I'm referring to is, okay, it's unfortunate, he killed 2 individuals who were innocent. But what are the other 9? What about the other 9? You know what I mean? Did he lie? Because there are killers out there that are notorious about lying about how many people they've killed, whether they undershoot or overshoot because they want to be famous. Because at that point their fucking names, obviously you're doing this, your name is tarnished or whatever, and at that point some of these people are so delusional, they're so messed up that they're willing to pile more bodies fictitiously rather than just say they just killed 2 people. They rather sometimes build up. Because didn't Ted Bundy do the same thing?
Yeah,
he upped his numbers when he confessed,
but he
never recovered those bodies as well.
Or he could have been seeing stuff on the news and relating that stuff to his own killings.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it
he
could
could
also
have taken
be
credit for somebody else's doing.
It could also be like what's the word I'm looking for? Like if investigators think that they have more bodies or more killings, they might want to try to bargain with them a little bit. Like, okay, well, we want closure on these cases.
Right.
What can you tell us?
What can you give us?
What can you give us? Where's the bodies? Because, I mean, obviously families want to know.
They want to bring closure to those families.
I mean, they may have nothing to give them, but that's kind of like a bargaining chip or several.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I wanted to get at, too. Also, if that's something, did he do that? Was there anything to indicate that he tried to bargain his way into a lesser sentence for information of the other individuals?
No, I think they gave him like 50 years or something.
I think he was fucking lying, dude.
The thing is,
he's not enough time either.
He claims not to know the name of the girls, but he does mention details like the color of their hair. So like 2 of the victims were redheads, and they have unsolved mysteries for 2 unsolved murders for 2 redheads. Oddly enough, his occupation was not a truck driver.
He was a delivery guy.
He was a traveling salesman.
Well, that's another occupation. I mean, how many traveling salesmen do we have now these days? Is that like a thing? Does that still happen?
I mean, most people buy their stuff on the internet, so
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Was that like that was in the 90s, right?
No, it was in the 70s.
Well, there you go. Obsolete job.
The guy was from San Marcos.
What's going on in San Marcos?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of weird people out there.
I think I should investigate the whole city of San Marcos.
Yeah, but it looks like he was all over the Southwest.
Yeah. Of Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. These days, man, you can't just leave your kids anywhere. At any age. Unless you grew up in the hood.
How is that better?
I have no idea.
This guy also went into Mexico, Central America.
Oh shit!
So this guy went international, man.
This guy. Wow, what a piece of shit. I mean, I feel like there should be more investigation going on with this guy. As far as do you know if they can submit someone's DNA to other countries for possible murders and other, crimes?
DNA is something recent. I mean, they haven't had a catalog for, I'd say, more than 5-7 years. Something that's reliable. Because I think now, like, if you get arrested for any crime, they automatically swab you, fingerprint you, and that goes into a catalog. You
don't know who the fuck that you just caught. You could have caught somebody.
I know recently they
should have just run that shit through Interpol. The fucker is international. He went to fucking South America, right?
Yeah, but I mean, creating the actual database and housing this, it's massive.
I feel like someone's lacking. I don't know who is lacking. I know this president ain't doing shit for the U.S. So
well, he was handing out thank yous and praise, and went to hand out food.
Who?
Trump. You didn't hear about that?
Nah, man.
I'm not gonna help with cleaning. Fuck that. He's got maids for that shit.
I don't do
this guy.
But he's gonna be like scooping stuff up and.
I mean, it's the worst. So, what else do we have here? Is there another? Do we have another person of interest?
Those are the only 2 people that have been convicted of anything.
Right.
As far as suspects, I mean, you're right. You're right next to oil refinery, so there's constant trucks going across that highway.
Yeah. There's literally dozens and dozens of truckers.
I would say
because they pump like over 500 barrels, 500,000 barrels.
Yeah, it's throughout
the fucking month. I mean, and they deliver all the way up to New York. They have a pipeline that goes all the way up there too. I mean, that's a lot of travel.
If I were the killer, I'm not saying that I am.
Continue on.
I would be from anywhere but Houston. Right?
Right.
So a lot of, from like FBI reports that I read before, a lot of people that are serial killers tend to do their killing near where they live. Right? But that brings more attention to you.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely bring more attention to you.
Because you're familiar with your surroundings.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, get familiarized with another surrounding and do it there.
I mean, if you're there a lot... Because, I mean, most of these killings look like they happened during the summer.
Right.
The latest was in October and November.
Mm-hmm.
But most of them are during July, June, May.
Right.
There's a few outliers like February. But those are still unsolved, so...
I wonder if the time frame during these murders is there's like a high amount of travel for a specific type of job. You know what I mean? Like, is there any other correlation between that and a potential job or a certain career path that, you know, would be an indicator of the killings? You know what I mean? It's kind of like how they put in, the hottest point during the summer. There's a very good chance that's also there. I mean, there's no actual full correlation, but they say the hottest point of during the summer is also the highest point of murder rates.
I mean,
that's the thing.
I think crime tends to peak during the summer because, I mean, most people are...
What else peaks in the summer? Do you know what else peaks in the summer?
Teen pregnancy?
Heat?
No. Yes. Well,
anger?
Heat, obviously. Anger. But what else? Ice cream sales.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
You think it's the ice cream man that's killing people?
I mean, I don't know that, but I mean, there's also they've been able to find that when it's sometimes there's the hottest point, right? The highest points during the summer are also the highest points of ice cream sales. Also have the highest points of murder rates.
But also, I mean, kids are out of school. They're more out and about. You know what I mean? They're playing outside.
They're left unguarded.
I mean, most of these kids are probably like latchkey kids. Their parents didn't know where they were at all the time.
Yeah.
They were
Their parents work at night or something like that. Single parents. Who really knows? I mean, shit, man.
The question is, how the hell did these kids get to these locations?
How do they travel? Walking distance, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not walking distance from anything.
Some of these kids take the bus.
What are they
go to the ice cream. I'm talking about like they went to the ice cream shop, and you know, that's apparently that's.
Well,
where
that accounts for like
from.
2 out of all of them, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could have been. They also could have been the ice cream man. Think about it this way. I used to run right outside without even fucking looking across the street if there was a car coming.
You've been struck by vehicles, man.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. Right? Running to the ice cream man, right?
It does explain all that.
No, it doesn't. So, I mean, what I'm saying is kids left unattended, even when their parents are in the house, they're quick. I mean, they're there and then they're gone. You know what I mean? And somebody who is traveling through your neighborhood, who is going to be very unsuspecting, who is going to bring attention to your kid, who would that be? The ice cream man. Or somebody with, you know, a dog in the van. Some kind of puppy.
Like
candy.
Candy.
Free candy.
You know, you tell your kids to stay away from strangers. Don't. But who is the most approachable? Somebody you see all the time. The ice cream man. I'm not saying every ice cream man out there. That makes sense,
but what about the ones that were like 19, 30, age 57? You know what I mean? Like...
Bad day.
Oh, I was talking about the murders of the kids.
Well, yeah, but I mean, not everybody.
So we move to the adults. The same rule applies. The same rule applies.
You still react to the ice cream truck the same way as
No. Who? Okay, as in your adulthood. Who is more approachable during your whole time frame of life?
Logistically, how do you get someone into the ice cream truck? Because most of the time,
I'm talking about
opening.
I'm talking about kids.
I know, but even then,
You just like snatch him up through your ice cream window.
No one's gonna see that.
Yes.
No one's gonna see you.
You'd be surprised if nobody's around.
They should make a horror movie called The Ice Cream Man now.
They should be. You want to co-write it?
I'm down.
We should,
dude.
We should. At this point,
Let's do this one out, guys.
So, okay.
I like what
For these older women,
They wanted ice cream.
who
They just wanted some ice cream.
but who do they interact on a daily basis, right? That they would feel themselves to be okay being alone with or around with.
I mean, were they anyone's mother? Possibly, like maybe their kids.
Did they babysit somebody?
Well,
that
doesn't fit on all of them because.
Well, yeah, no, of course.
The 57-year-old from League City, Texas, was last seen driving. So she's gonna pull up next to the ice cream man, wave him down.
Well, no, of course not. So she was seen driving. Mm-hmm. Okay, so who would she approach driving that she would seem to be, not harmful? Someone who is a police officer, someone with authority,
Border Patrol,
whatever.
I don't trust them.
Somebody who has a flat tire pulled over to see if she could help. Someone who has a kid. Think about it this way: someone who has a flat tire and has a kid. Are you going to automatically suspect that they're a murderer? That they're going to kill you if you stop to help?
I mean, it depends what time of the night they.
Broad daylight. No, you wouldn't suspect that. And then you go and you off and you talk to them, and then bam, they're snatching. The fucking kid is a part of it somehow. I mean, you just don't know what some people are capable of.
I think it's hard to tie all of these missing people to one person. I think it's just
exactly. I don't think it's one person. I honestly think it's a multiple group. It's a group.
Yeah, I don't even think it's
whether they know each other or not. It's definitely a variety of people, and they all depict a designated spot.
No, well,
it's just a prime location for this kind of thing to go down.
Like, or it could it could have turned into a copycat murder, right? A series of copycat murders,
but all the bodies end up in the exact same
spot, and then the police are thinking maybe it's one killer picking the same spots, and these people are dying the same way. Or not,
And there's another outlier here, which is out of League City, Texas. Now, these are actually close to a year apart, and I'm kind of wondering if League City, Texas only has one convenience store.
Okay. Was it the same convenience store?
It just says a convenience store, but...
So I'm wondering if they disappeared from the exact same one.
That's a good
There's
question.
another, I know which ones you're looking at, but the one later on that was the 57-year-old was also from League, Texas, but that one was the driving disappearance.
But that was the last time there was
maybe followed from a convenience store.
Maybe she was coming from a convenience store or going to a convenience store. What if it's somebody in the convenience store?
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, I saw him. They went that way. Meanwhile, they were actually killing the convenience store. What does a convenience store have? What does a convenience store always have?
A hose?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Convenience.
So convenience.
Plastic wrap.
They have an endless supply to clean, some blood stains. No, they have coolers. They have freezers.
Would you store a body back there?
I mean, if I was a killer and I was the only one working at the day, yes.
You have shift changes. How do you?
They also have surveillance usually too, though.
Yeah.
Do we know? Do we know that this convenience store have actual working video? How many hotels out there have non-working?
I'm guessing the part where it says "last seen at convenience store" is due to their surveillance. I'm just gonna take a wild guess.
I mean, that's a gamble, but we don't know that if that's a fact.
We don't, but I mean...
You know one way to find out?
But I mean, that was 83 and 84. What?
I mean, to look it up.
You get down for road trip?
I mean, I'm not going to go anywhere. There's people being murdered in Lake City. I'm not going.
It stopped.
You go and let me know how it went.
I don't know that.
It stopped in 2006.
I'm going to give you a radio, all right?
The last victim was Teresa Vangas.
Wait, what? Is that really a name?
Yeah.
Hold on. Where's this at?
Vangas.
Oh.
Vangas. Vangas.
Vangas.
I was like, what are you seeing? What is that at? You know.
And she was seen in this is Dickerson, Texas. Where the hell is that?
Where is...
Dickinson, Texas has a few of those.
Is that close to Houston? Is that in the Houston? Is that in the coastal area? That's definitely East Texas, all right?
There's 2 victims in 1970. Hold on. No. There was 2 victims found April 3rd, 1981 from Dickinson, Texas. Ages 12 and 14. And they were both seen at a convenience store. Yeah.
See?
That's a good amount of the people, though.
That's a lot. I mean, this is...
So they look to be southeast of Houston.
So, okay, so here I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back real quick on who did I pick here? Sorry, give me 1 second.
The one you were going to look into? Or?
So, in League City, right? Last seen at a convenience store. Her name was Laura Miller, 16. This happened September 10th, 1984. So, she was actually not seen. She was at the corner store, right? The convenience store, neighborhood convenience store. But she was actually using a payphone. She was actually seen using a payphone.
Was she
at the convenience store? Exactly. Was she meeting somebody?
Are you calling her a call girl?
No, I'm not calling her a call girl. But maybe she was seeing a friend or a boyfriend that the parents didn't approve of.
Somebody that they should not have.
Yeah.
Some predator that, probably swooned her over or whatever. She shouldn't have been meeting him. I mean, it's possible. It happens all the time.
And then she was found in the 3000 block of Calder Road in League City, Texas.
She was found,
so Dickerson is just later. South of that.
Year and a half later.
So what'd you say?
These are all like subdivisions of Houston.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dickerson is in Houston. But the family offered a big reward, $25,000 back then. That was a lot of money. I mean, it still is a lot of money.
Dude, I've driven through these places.
Yeah, but you're not like the young girl.
No one wants you.
That's not what I mean.
Thanks, guys. I feel so much better about myself.
I'm
right
saying
now.
you're not as as much of an easy prey.
I mean, you're not someone that's being targeted.
I mean, what if I wanted to be
someone
targeted?
wants.
You want to be targeted? I mean, I feel like you're now asking for roleplay here, and that's kind of weird.
Let's edit that part out.
Please.
Yeah. Let's edit that out.
Edit.
Yeah, edit that. But I mean, okay, so it goes back to what she wasn't actually seen at a convenience store. She was seen outside of the convenience store using a payphone to call somebody. I mean, obviously, she's at a payphone. She's calling somebody. Or maybe she was waiting for a call.
Side piece.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she was seeing somebody older, somebody in high school, somebody with a car, right? Somebody wanted to do harm.
I mean, she's 16,
Why not?
so she's old enough to possibly be dating somebody who's like a little older for her. But
somebody who may be a senior out of high school, or maybe just out of high school, wants to take advantage. Huh?
Who are we talking about again?
Laura Miller. She was 16.
She was 16 at the time.
So in 84.
Yeah, in 84.
No cell phones.
No cell phones. Yeah, of course.
That's how people communicated back then.
Yeah.
You went to a payphone, and he goes like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna be at a payphone at this time. I'm gonna call you." And then there you go. That's how people would do that. I mean, you would say that you were gonna call somebody at this time, and you told people in advance that you were gonna be at this payphone, and you were gonna call them whenever you wanted to get picked up, or I don't know, whatever you were gonna do. But I mean, who was she talking to? Who did she call? Did she call somebody that obviously her parents didn't approve of, or maybe people just didn't approve of because of an age difference? Maybe she's gonna meet a friend, and somebody else picked her up, promised her that gonna take her to wherever she needed to go.
This may sound a little bit morbid, but if there's hurricanes coming, do you think the homicide rate goes up? It's like in Katrina.
What do you mean?
In Harvey.
Because people are going to take advantage of a natural disaster to get rid of a body?
Yeah.
Didn't that kind of happen recently with a woman's disappearance right before the storm?
I don't know. Did that happen?
I mean, that recently actually just happened. With somebody who went missing that was going to go meet. I forgot the name of the lady's name. But she was... she sold homes. She was a realtor. She was going to go meet her ex-husband, pick up a kid. And
she never showed up to
pick up the kid. And so, yeah, she went missing. She worked at that was like a family type business of some sort. But yeah, I mean, people. I can only assume that people who would want to kill somebody would take advantage of the situation. That is that. You know what I mean? Maybe miscalculated. I mean, hopefully she's alive. I mean, I don't know at this point, but if somebody was going to do this and miscalculated, because she did go missing before the storm, which makes it even highly suspicious.
Or a good way to get rid of evidence.
Also, yeah. Just don't want to clean up. I mean, but still, yes, that would be the perfect moment to commit a crime like that. Hoffman is thinking of something. I could only wonder what he is thinking.
Hey, next summer it rains, man. You want to come hang out?
Where's Sai? Where's Sai? Oh my God, where's Sai? But no, I mean, yeah, definitely people would want to take advantage of the situation. And I feel like, young kids like Laura Miller, somebody passing through may have taken the opportunity and took advantage of her, or maybe that was something that was planned. Here's the other thing. At this time, how many high schools are there? And do all these people, all these kids within that same age range, do they know each other? Like in the 80s, all these kids that disappeared 14 through, early 20s, during the 80s, which all these cities are kind of neighborhood cities within the Houston area. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I'm looking that up.
So here's my other thing. Is like, okay, so what if this person is probably in their 20s and he is, picking these young girls, driving around, just picking them up.
That's honestly friends. What I think.
They become friends first, real easily. They're around the same age. Or maybe this person looks young, that maybe looks like they're still in high school, but they're not. They're actually much older.
It could be as simple as just, these are small towns. These people could just be walking around because that's what you do, right? It's the 80s or it's the 70s, whatever. Like
people
people don't have cars.
Yeah, and people believe in trust.
And there's trust because it's a small town. You're not like chaperoned at every step of the way.
Right.
It could be as simple as just somebody driving around, grabbing kids or offering them a ride or luring them somehow.
Misplacement of trust.
And that's it. Yeah. It could be as simple as that. I mean,
that's also another, and to have another type of possible scenario. Yeah, that is definitely something that could.
I can't tell you how many times that happened to me growing up. Just cars following me around. So honestly, I was never gonna get into one.
That's not creepy at all.
That's. I won't say where I grew up, but yeah,
I mean, there's men out there who don't understand what no is and don't get taught what no is. And a girl tells you no, that means no. That fuck off. But there's just, unfortunately, with I at the end of the day, I blame the parents for not teaching the boy to understand what no is and what boundaries are. I blame society for, letting shit like this slide and happen. I blame the media. I blame entertainment for showing this shit and letting it happen in TV shows and in movies.
When it becomes entertainment.
When it becomes entertainment, it becomes something that is, what do you call it? Acceptable. Acceptable behavior, and it's not. And if nobody says anything and nobody stops it, nobody speaks out, this shit continues. And then there's women out there that they're just boys being boys. This is bullshit.
This is a great segue into your story.
Into the next episode. Pandora, what do you got?
So I actually wanted to talk about fake news. Not super specifically about, certain stories out there that are considered fake news, but more of the phenomenon, I guess, if you want to call it that, of fake news and like why it's happening.
Right.
So by now everybody's, I think, heard of fake news, and
it's content and
yeah, it's basically just stuff being put out there as fact. A lot of times by mainstream media, whether it's like on TV or newspapers, just online websites, and it's on both sides. I mean, you could say it's Democrats, Republicans, left, right, whatever.
Right.
It's happening, and it's just reporters, journalists are putting stories out there. They're not fact checking, and a lot of times it's completely made up. So I was looking more into, why it's happening, and it's, a lot of people are making sites and making a lot of money off of this. Everybody knows you can make money off of blogs and stuff like that.
Right.
You've got people who have completely fake news sites, which, I mean, we might know it's like, okay, like The Onion, like it's satire, right?
Yeah,
or
satire news.
It's all just like hoaxes, and it is. But then you've got other sites that look and sound reputable.
Legitimate, yeah.
They might have real, legit news stories in there that we know are true, mixed in with fake stuff.
Right.
And then that's where it becomes a lot harder to decipher, like, what's real, what's fake. Because you don't really know if you can trust a source or not now, especially even when you see it on TV or when you see it printed in like a reputable newspaper.
Right.
So I don't know. What do y'all think? Have y'all come across anything that's?
I mean, there's people who put out opinions based. I've seen people put out opinions based on something that's fake, that they clearly didn't read, because if you would have read it, you would have been able to scroll to the bottom and it says fake news. Like it literally said. I saw somebody post an article, and this person went on a rant, and I was like, "Damn, this sounds like
yeah, you see it all the time.
Shit, right?" And so I clicked on it, and I went to go look, and I read the article. I kept looking down, and then at the very end, it said fake news.
Sometimes it's
fake
just
information.
All it
not
takes
real.
is
prejudice. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes all it takes is like a really captivating headline.
Title, yeah.
It's written a certain way to evoke emotion, and people are just like, "What the hell?" And then they just go off on a rant, like you said.
Right.
And it's like, if you read the article, it's actually pretty misleading.
Yeah.
Or it's not even what it sounded like at all.
So I guess you're looking into it fake news not being just a clickbait. You're thinking of it being more than just clickbait. It's more sinister. There's more of a.
It could be. I mean, the people that put out the fake news, they could have more of a hidden agenda, but I think the main thing is probably just greed. Like, they're making money and they don't care.
Yeah.
Or they just want to promote certain viewpoints, and sway people's opinions a certain way, like no matter what it takes.
Right.
Another thing that people don't realize a lot on Facebook, which everybody has Facebook pretty much these days, or a lot of people go to Facebook and like that's where they get their news. Sadly, like they see stuff on Facebook and they're like, "Oh, I'm up to date and I'm current." The other thing is, like, when you are looking at a Facebook feed, Facebook tailors that to what you have liked or commented on or shown to
in your history of,
like,
of
read.
Facebook.
Yeah. So if you tend to, like pictures of cats, like, chances are you're going to get more pictures of cats in your feed.
Yeah.
That's pretty harmless, but then when you start thinking of, like, articles that you've liked and everything else that starts popping up is just like, it almost seems to agree with your viewpoint or the stuff that you got mad about and commented on, like, it's showing you more of that.
Right.
It makes you feel like everything around you is almost like the way you think.
Yeah.
And you don't ever really see the other sides of how people think, or maybe how things really are.
That other people think a different way. Yeah.
So it just kind of fuels that fire.
Yeah.
And then it gets people more divided.
Well, yeah.
So
I think that's very interesting. That's a very interesting topic to look into. There's definitely a lot of opinions. There's definitely a lot of information out there. And then the whole sinister aspect behind it. You gotta play devil's advocate. There's a lot of information out there, and there's a lot also. It's not just about the clickbait. There's the clickbait. It's one-sided. That's one thing, and it goes much deeper than that. And I guess you would have to tune into the next episode to find out why and what it goes into. But because it does go down deep, a real dark rabbit hole, and tune into the next episode, and we'll tell you why that goes into a dark side. But what are your final thoughts, Hoffman? What are your final thoughts on this?
I think the successor always writes the history.
yes.
So,
Also this.
like, whoever is winning is going to make themselves look a whole lot better in the eye of the public.
Right.
The losers don't usually get to tell the story afterwards, you know?
Exactly.
So
with our current political crisis, I would say.
Right. Yeah.
that's one way to put it, yeah.
The way that he is going about and just saying everything is fake news. He's bringing doubt to all information.
Right.
And that in itself is self-destructive.
In a way, it's like censorship, right? Like you're just saying like none of this is true, so you can't believe any of it, and you're just like, like literally. Didn't he say at one point that he was the only news source you should trust? Which I was like, what the heck?
Something that Putin would say.
Yeah, no,
like that sounds like a dictator.
It's
honestly,
exactly the tactic that Putin would use.
It's a lot of gaslighting and just.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot to look into, and I guess we'll have to look into the next
to
episode.
be continued.
So
it's gonna be a fun one.
Oh yeah.
We gotta get Sai in for that one.
Sai will definitely be here. And so with that, stay safe, stay cautious. I'm not saying don't trust anybody out there, but be very cautious who you trust.
Watch out for ice cream trucks.
Watch out for ice cream trucks. Watch out for the people you talk on a daily basis. Maybe you should carry a knife or a gun or mace or something like that. Bear mace.
Carry a knife.
A knife. Bear mace.
Bear mace.
A machete.
Full automatic rifle. A stun gun.
They allow that in Texas now, right?
Machete?
Open carry.
What?
You can open carry like anything now.
Yeah, you can walk around with a AK-47 strapped to your back.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I mean, if you live in Texas, definitely take advantage of that. Maybe
try not to be a serial killer with that either.
Try not
if you can help it.
Yeah, try not to shoot anybody. But yeah, tune into the next episode. Again, stay safe, be cautious, and on the next one.